When do I go live? It looks like I'm live. I feel live. Am I alive? I'm alive. It's alive. Hey everybody, it's your absolute most favorite computer author in the entire universe, Mike Meyers. Welcome you to his Ask Me Anything. The goal of this Ask Me Anything is to provide those of us who are studying due to the coronavirus on our own an opportunity to work together and have questions answered on your study of CompTIA products. In particular, IT fundamentals, CompTIA A+, CompTIA Network Plus, and Security Plus. Now, we can certainly go outside of that, and I'm always glad to talk about technical issues as well as testing strategies and all kinds of fun stuff like that. So remember, though, that the goal of this AMA is that you ask me questions. So we start here at 2 o'clock, and we'll go till 4 o'clock Central Daylight Time, or we'll stop when the questions end. So it's really kind of up to you as to how long this is going to go. Now, actually, we're kind of interesting. I'm trying to see, is Scott Jernigan with me today? I have sound. Yay, thank you, Scott. The one time I forget to ask, do I have sound? And Scott Jernigan, being the machine that he is, was right there and letting me know that I got sound. So, be sure to ask me questions. I got a number of questions that came in via email. So while we're talking about email, let me bring up the best way to send me a question is via email. So you can use either my work or my personal email address. Don't use both. That drives me nuts. Just pick one or the other. They work equally well. It doesn't matter. And just send me a question. You can just type them in right now in the live chat if you'd like, but it's really completely up to you. And you just, it doesn't matter either way to me. If you're a gamer, my Steam account is Senor Pepe. My phone number is 281-922-4166. Unfortunately, though, right now, because of the coronavirus, nobody's in the office. Probably, if you really want to talk to me on the phone, I'm always glad to talk to anybody. Just send me an email, and we'll set it up, and we can talk together if you'd like. And when in doubt, just use the name DesWeds for just about everything that I am out there, from my Blizzard account to my Skype account. Just look up DesWeds, and you're going to find me in one shape or another. So, anyway, with that attitude in mind, I'd like to go ahead and get started. Haven't really looked. We got many questions coming in yet? Yes, Terrence Tech, I did get your email. In fact, I think we're going to address that one today, as I recall. Scroll up, sound is good. You guys are so great. Literally the one time I didn't ask, and everybody's in there saying, sounds good. Oh, thank you so much. I really do appreciate that. Calido007, looks like a new name. USA Health Insurance Reform, new name. Good to see you guys. All you usual suspects are here. So what is interesting today is we don't have any discounts today, or at least nothing's been listed. If something comes up, Scott Jernigan will let me know. But I don't think we have any specials today. I promise we'll have some giveaways on Friday, which will be our next one. But today, yeah, you just get to listen to me and get to listen to me ask questions. So there is a chance that we might get some information from our marketing department on today's specials. But until then, hey, you don't get nothing, you know, other than the joy of me and having Scott Jernigan. I see Dave Rush is on too, and just hanging out and having fun. I do have some interesting news coming up. It looks like next month, Elaine Batzler from North Essex Tech is going to be in Houston. And I am looking forward to having her come live on the show with me. Elaine has literally one of the greatest IT programs, in my opinion, in the nation at the high school level. And North Essex Tech is an incredible school, a little bit north of Boston in Massachusetts. And to have her physically here is absolutely exciting. So that's going to be next month. I believe it'll be around July 10th-ish or something like that. So got that coming. We did finally get all the bells and whistles worked out on integrating Zoom into the live stream. So you can count on definitely seeing remote people coming in, but to have somebody local come in and be on the same camera, that's pretty exciting. So you'll definitely want to be tuning in on that, especially if you're an instructor or even if you're a student who's looking for some good ideas. An absolutely amazing program. CompTIA and Cisco mainly. and they really crank out a lot of success. So good stuff. Calido007. Hello, Mike. Hello, love. I completed the last of the 2 modules in the CompTIA course, We have many, many CompTIA courses, amiga, or amigo, I'm not sure what gender we're talking about here. And I'm preparing to take the test within the next 2 to 3 weeks. Excellent. Good luck to you, man. Or woman. I mean, look at all these new faces today. It's great. Jim Ivy. Jim, did I see you before? Why does that name sound familiar to me? Do I owe you money? I probably do. Okay. Oh, so Kelly, here's more information. Now that I'm done, it's test time. Okay, so you're going for your A+. Outstanding. What's your advice on preparing for the exams? Well, you have been preparing for the exams because you've been watching videos, right? Okay, I'm just reading the question. All right, so the most important thing you want to do at this point is dedicate yourself to the exam. And that means you need to pull out the credit card, and you need to go onto Pearson VUE, and you need to purchase and pay for the test taking. Now keep in mind that, especially here the coronavirus, there is a methodology called on-view testing, I believe it's called, which allows you to actually test at home. We've had some pretty good success on it. Been a couple of nightmares. I haven't heard anybody who just like lost their money though or anything like that. So, but you can take it at home. You're going to need a camera, obviously a good internet connection, no dial-up. I'm kidding. Camera. I don't have all the direct information in front of me, but you can just go look, do a Google search on Pearson OnView, O-N-V-U-E, for the details on that if you want to take the test on your own. It doesn't matter whether you go into a testing center or you take the test on your own. First thing you need to be doing is you need to set a date in the future, and you need to put your money down, and you need to say, this is the day I'm taking the test. If you don't do that, you'll delay. You can't delay. You got to do it. Heat and pressure makes diamonds. So the question is how much study time do you need? Now, Kelly007, I don't know you. Are you a good studier? Are you a bad studier? For example, a lot of people use my books. They enjoy the metric in the intro of my books. It talks about how much time do you need to study. For A+, just as kind of a good ballpark, is about 120 hours. That can go up to over 200 if you're like a complete noob. That could be as low as 40 hours if you're like an experienced tech. So you kind of have to guesstimate where you are in that process. And really the thing is now is that if you've watched all the videos, you've been exposed to all the topics. So that's great. But what you need to be doing now is hitting practice questions. And of course, this is the one day, unless Scott has put them up suddenly, we don't have a discount deal. You need practice questions, is all I'm telling you. CompTIA practice questions is sold by lots of people, and we're certainly not the only one out there, although I think my practice questions are absolutely the best. And we're also, I think we're the cheapest too, of the major guys. Anyway, you need to go through practice questions, and you need to pound them. And then when there's practice questions you get wrong, if you have a good practice question test bank, like the one from Total Seminars, it'll tell you where you need to work a little more, give you some ideas on what to study, and then you go and do some more studying. You can just rewatch videos, you can read books, you can practice the tools yourself just by doing it. And best way to learn ping is just open up a command prompt and type ping a lot and figure it out. Ping minus T, there you go. And once you've done that, then you just keep doing that till you hit, like with my practice questions, it's in order to pass, it's actually my pass rate is higher than what we think the CompTIA pass rate is. So we do that on purpose. And once you start passing those consistently, then that's your cue, and hopefully you're approaching that date, and then you go in, you pass it, and you get the badge on your chest, and you live happily ever after, and you lose your hair and start wearing glasses. So those would be my suggestions to you. Oh, the gang's all here. Greg and Joe and Marcine and Tolowit and I want to thank everyone involved. Hey man, we're here for you. It's always glad to do it. Andrew Hutz is here. Yep, Terrence, I do. Yeah, I've got your email, Terrence. Danny Schiff, that's a new name. I bought your practice tests and finished both Udemy courses. Good. And I bought the practice tests on Jason. Yeah. Hopefully, I passed my test because I turned 21 June 19th. Okay. So like like Terrence Tech, yeah, best of luck to you, first of all. Is 21, the youngest person I know to successfully pass the CompTIA A+ was 13. Crazy, huh? Danny Shift, I'm new to the IT field, not in it for the money. Yeah, well, that's a terrible reason to get in IT is for the money. Get into, like I tell everybody, if you want to make a lot of money, become a plumber or an electrician or a pipe fitter or a welder. It's ridiculous how much money welders make, especially down here in the oil patch. It's just craziness. I don't care how much I get paid. I just want to get a job and build my resume, get experience. Yeah, the main reason that Danny, the main reason you get an IT is because you love IT. I mean, this is great. Now the fun part for you, especially as a baby tech, is like what aspect of IT is going to create a passion for you? Are you going to become a Windows administration guru, or are you going to be a, security guy? See, even security guy doesn't mean anything anymore. You could be web security, you could be cloud security, physical security. There's, all these kinds of specialties within that. Then you have to decide what you like, and then you pursue it. And then sometimes you're wrong, and then you end up pursuing other stuff within IT. Justin Miller, when you first started in IT, how did you overcome challenging problems and issues? Okay, rule number one, if you don't know, say I don't know. Okay, that's important. Number two, recognize that you're never really alone. The chances of you actually doing something that nobody has ever done before is so ridiculously small that it's almost not a major concern. The Google is a good thing. Back in my day, before the internet, getting technical information was often a challenge, but that's water under the bridge, and glad it's gone. So most of the problems, the challenging problems and issues I run into aren't necessarily the technology. It's dealing with people. It's dealing with bureaucracies. It's, I work for a certain federal level 3-letter organization that carried guns, and I screwed up once and had an agent jack me up, and those were the complicated things. Once you hand me the technology and got the people out of the way and the bureaucracy out of the way, I can go to town. So, and the other thing, Justin, is be fearless. Especially if you're starting off in your career, you're going to screw up. I'm telling you right now. I have personally destroyed millions of dollars worth of equipment. Now, it's not, don't be an idiot and run in there and do something without thinking. And if you can warn people about the risks of something you're doing is good. But sometimes you just got to, press the blue button and hope. And that's okay. My rule set when it comes to hypothesis of a problem and the fix is about, if I have a 70% confidence that what I'm doing is the right thing, most of the time I'm going to go for it. The most expensive part of the IT world is you, and paying you and getting you health insurance and all that stuff. So people who try a couple of things, and those couple of things that are wrong and then maybe the third one's right, are far cheaper than the person who's afraid and keeps double checking and triple checking and all that. I guess the other thing I would say is, don't forget that you can talk to people. It seems to be a lost art these days. And I get a pretty long way if I have a problem with a technology, talking to a vendor or something like that. I'm fearless about dialing an 800 number. Or even just taking advantage of a chat window. How's that for an answer and a half, Justin? You ask me what time it is, I'll tell you how to build a clock. Andre DeGoy, Dave was fun. Can you do a vid together sometime? No. No. Dave is dangerous. Of course, we'll get Dave back on. In fact, part of the getting stuff set up so we can live stream Zoom meetings was I actually had a headache a couple of days ago, and I'm such a hypochondriac. It's like, oh my God, I have the COVID virus. And so I thought, I'm going to get tested. And down here in Texas, it's still a little tricky to get tested. So I called, and they're like, do you have a fever? I'm like, nope. They go, do you stomach problems? Do you have any trouble smelling? Nope, 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 nope. Did you take aspirin and the headache went away? Yep. They're like, don't come in. You just have a headache. But I'm such a hypochondriac. Anyway, so part of that was to make sure that guys like Scott or Dave, or hopefully even Michael Smyer, can host if I'm not feeling good. But we'll bring Dave on anyway. Isn't that funny, Dave? They asked for you, brother. James M., with the way high school kids are learning, I was wondering what you would recommend in them starting with. IT fundamentals, or go ahead starting them in the A+ study material. Now, James, for me, the big question there is, what kind of support do you have from the administration? I'm assuming you're in the U.S. I know that's very bold of me. But in the U.S., we have a lot of what we call technical high schools. And what we see is that IT fundamentals often appears in a middle school level as early as possibly even 6th grade, depending on your students. And that IT fundamentals is more of a broad spectrum. Because even if somebody just is a good computer user, IT fundamentals is a great little certification. It's also very cheap. It's only like $40 to take the exam. And as a way to get people started in the concept of certification in technology, IT fundamentals is a great way to go. But once you start getting to high school level, you really kind of count on your administrators and your career counselors and people like that to filter in the right kind of kids. And with the right kind of kids, A+ programs start here at a freshman level. I've seen a number of programs here in the United States and in the UK too, by the way, where it's more of a in the 14 to 15-year-olds, freshman, sophomore high school here, and then Net Plus usually in a junior year around 16, and then senior year tends to be, there's some schools that have amazing programs. Literally, the entire IT department in many schools, or at least the level 1 IT department, is just students. You want to talk about instant way to put something on their resume. Absolutely amazing programs. There's always, and there has been for 20 years now, administrations fight this, and they're afraid of security and all this. But lots and lots of schools have very, very successful programs for something like that. So it's kind of an idea that I would recommend. IT fundamentals in middle school. Also, IT fundamentals is more of a broad spectrum. Almost anybody can take IT fundamentals and gain from it because it's just being a good user. And then A+ really is for the mechanics of technology. Freshman, sophomore. What's better for small business IT consulting, Microsoft or Cisco Cert? And they're very different. It's like, which ice cream is better, chocolate or vanilla? There's plenty of business within the world of small business IT consulting for people who concentrate on either Microsoft or Cisco. You got to keep in mind that most of the first level consulting stuff, like I'm a dentist and I need help kind of stuff, goes to these more mom and pop consulting companies that do just about everything. I mean, everything from pulling cable to setting up wireless to, configuring a Windows network to setting up Cisco routers to, just all the core pieces. So those are actually pretty good jobs to get if you can get them. It's not that the jobs are rare, it's just that they're kind of hard to find. And these small 5 to 10 person little consulting companies, or up to 100 people consulting companies, still small. When they hire, they already kind of have their own pipelines. But it's a great way if you're trying to get into the business, is just driving around to these places and kicking in the doors and letting them know you're there. I can't tell you how many jobs have been secured over, just meeting somebody at a bar or meeting somebody at a baseball game, or probably one of the coolest jobs I ever got in my life was in an airport bar a long time ago, and I ran into the CEO of a company called Creative Components, and we were actually building EEPROMs. It's the coolest summer job I ever had in my life. Jim Ivy, you already got A+, Security Plus, and Net Plus. Go get a job. Get out there. Go bang on some doors. I'm kind of looking at your picture here. You look like a pretty good-looking guy there. Got a little facial hair, which is always a big plus. Just get out there and start kicking in doors. It's so important. Just get a job. Ooh, we got lots of questions pouring in. Terrence Tech, I'm going to try to get to you, man. Scrolling through, let me find something. Damn it, Jim, congrats. Raven C. Oh, that's right. You need a mic for the on view as well. Thank you, Raven. I'd forgotten about that. C. Plasman. Kathy, Kathy Yale, from CompTIA keeps offering me online A+ courses, but how do they differ from total seminars? I don't know who Kathy from CompTIA is. Our head of sales, Kathy Yale, who works for Total Seminars, would probably offer courses. So I don't know who Kathy from CompTIA is, C. Plasman. Sorry, brother. Dun-dun. Oh, wow. So Jao Sosa, LPI has online testing now, too. That's interesting, because I've just been playing with the CompTIA part. I haven't really considered that other people were doing that. That's great. We do have a special for today. Thank you, Scott Jernigan. So, the special deals this week: A+, Net Plus, and Security Plus Super Bundles, which is the videos, the simulations, and the Total Tester practice questions. And or if you just want practice questions, those are all, I'm just going to gamble, they're 50% off. And all you have to do is go to www.totalsem.com, and when you're checking out, type in MMLive14, and you get it 50% off? Yeah, it's going to be 50%. C Plasman, is there any place that if you take the Pearson VUE CompTIA A+ and fail, you can take a retest? All of the places. The problem isn't the testing centers. The problem is okay, oops, you fail, all right? And if people fail all the time, you don't sweat failing certifications. Other than the inconvenience of time and money, nobody cares, okay? You just retake it. Yeah, the problem isn't the retaking. The problem is, okay, I have failed. Now what are you going to do? Okay, you have to apply for it again. Not apply, you just have to register for it. You have to pay for it. And then the tests have to be downloaded from some main server down to the testing machines, and that can take time. I've seen it done in a few hours, but it's not something you really want to count on, right? So you just go back to Pearson VUE, reschedule the exam at the same location, and then see what times are available. I mean, most of these will give you some idea of what kind of times, and you just go in and retake. There is no minimum amount of time between exams that I'm aware of. I'm sure somebody's going to correct me on that. Why does suddenly 30 days start to ring in my head? Marcine, question Net Plus. How can we detect near-end crosstalk interference and far-end crosstalk? Oh, okay. See if I can get a picture of something up here for you. So I'm going to be searching for cable certifier. Lots of them. Okay, let me see if I can get this up. There you go. So this is just one example of something you could use. This is a cable certifier. This one's only $9,000. Basically what you do is you plug one of these on one end of a run and you plug another into the other end of a run, and it doesn't take much brain power to use these things. You pretty much just, invariably all these, the ones I always use are from Fluke Networks, and you press a button and it goes clickety-clackety, burp, 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 and then oop, it comes up with a certification. So you gotta remember when you talk about things like Cat 6A, so Cat 6A is a type of cable, it's a type of punch down, all that stuff, but Cat 6A is also has to guarantee a certain amount of minimums of next and FEX, near end crosstalk, far end crosstalk, lots of other stuff. And people who install cables professionally will run these testers at the end of the job, and then these testers usually have like a SSD card or something like that. They can pull it out and then hand you a text file that literally goes run from run from run. What is the near end crosstalk, far end crosstalk, attenuation, cable map, wire map rather. There's a whole bunch of these things. And they use that as proof that the cables that they've installed hit certain CAT certifications. And they're like, that's our proof. And they usually make you sign it. And so they certainly sign it. And that way, if there's any problems, they can go, look, we tested these cables using a certifier. And that's how you get the answer. Okay, like heat and pressure makes diamonds. Isn't that the whole reason that we have old people around, right? It's because all this crazy old phrases we use, you know. It's funny, I gotta tell you, man, I do not feel like a dude who's pushing 60. I mean, this is craziness. I'm sorry, but I could probably crush about half of you guys in most PvP games. No offense, but it's true, you know? And so I'm out riding my bike and having fun, and all of a sudden I'm looking at the calendar, it's like, holy smoke. I remember being a little kid. I'm not kidding. I was like a really little kid. And I remember thinking, how old will I be in the year 2000? And I actually calculated it. It was like, oh, I'm going to be 38. It's like, how? That's so old. It's like so ancient. I was like, get me back to 38. With what I know right now, get me back to 38. It's probably not a good idea because I'd end up dead in a ditch someplace. PvP boy, hi Mike. Can you explain the difference between startup repair and SFC in Windows 10? Sure. So SFC, you mean just good old system file checker, right? Okay. A startup repair, or it's a bootable device of some kind, okay? In fact, you don't need a special bootable device. In Windows 10, you can make one. God, it's been a while since I've done it. But you can make a bootable device that's a repair disk. But to be honest with you, you can just use any installation media. Like if you ever bought Windows 10 and you get a little thumb drive, cool little Microsoft thumb drive, you can use those. You can use an ISO. You can put it on a optical media if you still have optical media. Boy, don't get me started on optical media. I think everybody still needs to have a CD-ROM drive, but that's just me talking here. I just got this stupid device in, and I needed to install some drivers, and it came with this. My new system that I just bought, I was like, oh, maybe I don't need optical media anymore. And look what shows up. Lesson. All right. Maybe normal people don't need optical media on their systems, but you and I do. What I want, you guys are probably wondering, my birthday's coming up, September 1st. And you're probably wondering, what should I get Mike for his birthday? Well, that's a good point. So what I want is a good removable optical media drive, you know, DVD on down. I don't care about Blu-ray anymore. But what I do want, and I want it to be USB, like USB 3.1. So if you're really worried what to get me for my birthday, well, now you know. Okay. Oh, anyway, let's finish your answer. So the startup repair is what's known as the It's a subset of the Windows pre-installation environment called the Windows repair environment. And when you hit R on that disk to run a repair, it does tons of stuff. It does. I mean, I don't even know all it does. I've looked it up once, and it was dizzying the amount of things that repair does automatically. You know, it's there's so many questions. There's very few questions anymore that you'll see like on the A+. It's like how to rebuild your BCD manually. It's like, well, you know, repair disk will do that automatically for you, but okay, whatever. And so it's a pretty powerful tool. And it includes a system file checker. So a system file checker simply means that it keeps a hash value. So you guys know what a hash is? It keeps hash values of a broad cross-section of critical boot files in a Windows system, which includes a bunch of really important DLLs and stuff like that. And it just does a quick check and compares them. And if it finds a bad one, System File Checker can download from Microsoft a new copy that's pretty and nice. But that's also handled as part of a repair installation anyway, so there you go. Is Moscow. I just changed my name. Okay, that's fine, good. What's the most difficult computer you ever had to fix? Wow. Most difficult computer I ever had to fix. So difficulty is a weird word. You mean physically hard to get to? Challenging in terms of a technology? Not that long ago, I ran into an old Novell server that was still working for a living. And Novell, which is an operating system of your forefathers, it was a serving software, which is pretty much gone. I'm not talking about the new versions of Novell, which are Linux. This is the old Novell. And this system had been running for like 16 years with only a couple of reboots. And the drive died. And it wasn't that hard to fix the drive, but to try to rebuild NetWare, that was hard. But we got it. If I pass my test, can you give me a job? You're funny. Mike, do you want to make an episode on command line for 1002? Command line, all right. I could almost do a command line from scratch, but I'd rather have a list of commands. I'll tell you what, I can do command line if you do me a favor. Give me a list of commands you're most curious about. So can we do a command line? Yeah, we can do a command line. From an A+ standpoint. I'd be curious, what do you want to know? You know what I mean? What's your question mark about it? Teach me command line. Okay. It's like the guy who came up to me once, Mike, teach me how to play chess. I'm like, sure, I'll teach you how to play chess. And I was like, okay, so you know, the goal of chess is to capture the other person's king, and you know, that's how you win the game. He's like, okay. Then I'm like, see, so the pawns move like this, and the bishops move like this. He goes, whoa. I don't want those kind of details. Just tell me how to checkmate. It's like, all right, dude. You have to know some things before we can get into that. So I'm glad to do command line, but I'd be very curious to know what aspect of command lines. What's on the exam? I mean, most everything I talk about is what's on the exams, but Terrence Tech, I nearly got sued once. Oh, brother, I've definitely been sued a couple of times. I deleted the Everyone group once. Yeah, done that too. I've done it on purpose and was happy with the results sometimes too. I'm glad you say this C Plasma in 2009. I'm glad you say these things, Mike. In my limited experience, the IT wasn't that difficult. It was attacked. Yeah, it's so hard. Because if you people just did what I told you, we'd all be better off. So you want the perfect world? Just make me the imperial god lord of the universe, and then everything will be great, I promise. Tolowit, The Cuckoo's Egg by Clifford Stoll. Wonderful. J's and Z. J in New Zealand. J's in New Zealand? J in Southern New Zealand? Hi, Mike. I'm learning a ton from your security class. Good, good. C. Plasman. So your startup repair would work using a DVD USB drive. Sure, if you had if you have a DVD USB drive, then it's also a CD-ROM drive, right? It can read DVD, from DVD 15 down to, these little guys, right? So I assume when you say DVD drive, that also means it can read CDs. And so the answer is yes. If you had a bootable Windows CD, then yes, you could. I'm going to be buried in optical drives in September. We'll see. Yeah, yes, of course I could go buy my own removable media, my own removable optical media drive, but it's like when I have the same problem with that I do with paying taxes every year. I forget. So, yeah. Yep, yes, of course, you would configure the removable media to be your primary boot device. God, somebody else who even knows, Gino, you actually know what Novell NetWare is. Younger people, you don't need to know about Novell NetWare. It is the operating system of your forefathers. It is long and gone and dead and group-wise. How many old people do we have on here? So Gino and Greg Davis know about Novell. Harsh Patel, what is the sequence of certification for CompTIA A+, Net+, Server Plus, and Security Plus? Well, first, Harsh, there is no rules. You can do anything you want in any order. There is no laws, there is no standards, there is nothing, okay? CompTIA gives recommendations on these things, and they change their recommendations about every 3 years, in my opinion. But in general, what I can tell you is that A+ and Net+ are, in my opinion, core certifications that will serve you no matter where you go in life. I don't care if you become a Cisco routing expert. A+ will still help you when you're trying to fix the laptop because you're trying to connect to the router or anything like that. So A+, Net+, and then Security Plus. Server Plus, Harsh, I got to be honest with you, I'm not a huge fan of Server Plus. I'm not against it. But when I'm looking for certifications that will provide you the most bang for your buck, Server Plus does not show up on my radar much. It does some. But I wouldn't be taking a Server Plus speculatively. I would be taking a Server Plus because I want to getting into server systems more. Or I have a boss who tells me I need to take it. Look at all you helpful guys. Greg Davis, 3.51. Back in the days when you actually had to write your drivers from scratch. NE 2000. Hi, Mike. I have failed the CompTIA A+ twice, and the second time I was so close to passing. Oh, I'm sorry, amigo. Since then, I've come across your materials. My confidence is slightly gone. What's your best advice? Okay, first of all, sorry, man. It sucks. I know that feeling. Most of the time that people fail CompTIA exams is due to test anxiety more than anything else. And you went in the first time, and I don't know you, so let me take that a different angle. The number one reason people fail CompTIA exams is test anxiety. The second reason people fail CompTIA test exams is because they know too much, and they read way too much in the questions, and they make them far harder than CompTIA wants it to be. And only the third level reason is because they don't know enough. So if I were to talk to you, one of the first things I would say to you is, what are your study habits? How much time are you putting into this? Are you dyslexic? I mean, I would ask all these questions. I don't know you. But probably my first guess is you'd be dealing with test anxiety. And in all probability, the only thing you need to have at this point in the game are practice questions. I'd love to sell you a book. I'd love to sell you videos, but you probably don't need them, to be honest with you. Just get some practice questions. And don't get just mine. That's the other mistake people make. They buy one set of practice questions. And the problem is that writing questions is like writing a novel. Question writers get a voice into their questions. And when you practice with these same pack of questions, and most people, they get one practice set and they just pound it into the dirt, which is good. That's a good thing. But they start memorizing questions. They read the first 6 words and they're like, oh, I know that one. It's D. And that's not good. So you want to get, you want to look at a secondary source. Everybody talks about this Jason Dion guy. He seems very nice. I've never looked at his practice questions. I know that Transcender does a good job. Although somebody told me Transcender got bought out by somebody. Practice questions would be the big thing. And don't panic, dude. We all fail stuff. I know it's inconvenient, but that's the only thing it is inconvenient. Geraldine Berna, is it possible for desktop authority effect? Is it possible for desktop authority affect a user profile? Geraldine, I apologize. I don't know what desktop authority is. I always get nervous when I say I don't know. Desktop authority. Is this like some kind of permissions thing or a security policy? If we change desktop authority to security policy, then holy smoke, yes, it will affect all kinds of stuff. Like start and search on the taskbar not working. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and everything's 50% off. Sorry, Scott, I just read that right now. Dave Rush, I started with NetWare 2.12. Dave. Russ Morgan, another one. Oh, you guys. Russ Morgan, you're still writing Wildcat BBS extensions? Okay, I'm going to slow clap that one. You are the winner of the technology nerd phrase of 2020 thus far. Young folks ignored Russ Morgan. BBSs, good Lord. What was the name of that mail system that the old BBSs used to have? All right, we're not going to do old man stuff here. What would you say is the most chill job in IT? Chill. What a fascinating word. Chill. I like to be in the middle of the messes. I like fires burning around me and, pulling puppies out of windows and, looking like the hero and working for 26 hours straight and making big money. So I don't think about chill when I think about IT. I would say people who do artisanal boxes, where they're making pretty stuff. Somebody on Monday was saying they're going to make a wooden case. I can't wait to see that. That would be so cool. And whoever said that, if you make that case, I will put it on the live stream and let everybody else see it as well. Chill job. Yeah, go with that. Marcine, technical question. Could you do a wireless NIC aggregation to increase performance? Interesting. No, I understand what you're saying. Where you have like 2 network cards that are tying in. I don't know. I'm going to look that one up real quick. Did a quick search, and there's a couple of things that make me think I could, but I wouldn't be holding my breath. Honestly, though, at this point in the game, the trick would be, like if you had 802.11, at least an AC, but really with AX, with OFDMA, if that was possible, and you had enough streams on the wireless access point to handle it, I wouldn't see any problem. Never tried. There's a quick answer. How about this? I don't know. But I know how to find the answer. Oh, a career day. Tolowit, the problem with a career day is I don't know how to do it. And I think Geraldine also had asked for a career day as well. I don't know how to do that. I mean, you want me to bring a recruiter on board, or maybe somebody who's looking to hire folks? I might be able to do something like that. I always get nerves when people want to pontificate about the state of the industry. It's like, who are these people? Or looking for ideas to get work? All right, let me keep thinking about it. Like I said, Tolowit, the secret is yell a lot and then answers will happen. Tom Jeffrey. Mike, I'm doing your course but working full time. This is what's normal, Tom. Most people have full-time jobs and they extend their certifications on their spare time in the evenings and the weekends. That's normalcy. You're worried that, again, Tom, I'm assuming you're talking about A+. Well, all right, Tom, so let's do some math here. So let's talk about A+, which takes about 120 hours on average, okay? So you give 2 hours a day during the week for 10 hours, and I'm trying to make my math easy here. 10 hours, and then 2 days during the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, for 7 hours a day. So that's 24 hours a week. Then that would mean in 5 weeks you'd have enough time. So this is where I'm telling people it's so important. Look at sometime in the future. If you're paranoid, whatever that time in the future, add 2 weeks to play it safe. And then sign up and pull out that credit card and pay for the tests. You will find yourself having lots of time to study when you have that heat coming down the pipe at you. Y'all are chatty today. All right. Would you know of other interactive labs for A+? I find yours to be quite helpful. You're saying don't use just one source. Interactive labs, there was on Steam, if you're a gamer, I think it was called PC Building Simulator. Yeah. Here. So it's called PC Building Simulator. It's a pretty impressive game. I'm not going to sit here and play the whole thing. Here, get the sound off. Anyway, what's cool here is it's hyper accurate simulations. You're actually using real parts of real systems that actually exist, and you get to build these systems. And there is actually a game involved with it where you have a certain budget and you're picking jobs. Yeah, you have water-cooled systems, all kinds of stuff. You can put in lighting systems, overclocking stuff. It's very, very impressive. So at least, let me get back here. So at least for A+ type stuff, PC Building Simulator is a pretty impressive little toy. And you get it on Steam. It was like $20, I think. And especially, if you're like, well, how do I, install 2 video cards or things that are probably budget scary? It's a very, very powerful tool. It's fun too. the game that you don't have to play the game. You can just build systems, but the game involves kind of fun because people are sending emails. I got this job and that job, and you have to pick the right job and try to make enough money so that you get a little profit. And you got to buy parts and stuff, and you got to, you only have a certain number of bays where you can work on systems. So the game itself is kind of fun. I agree, PvP boy. The most important thing is you need to, it's the understanding before memorization. Sure. If you're reduced to trying to memorize stuff for a certification, that means you don't know enough about it. People like panic about port numbers. I was like, how can you worry about port numbers? I mean, anybody who runs NetStat at any time at all is going to be looking at port numbers, or TCP view, you're going to be looking at port numbers. Going in, setting up ACLs on routers, going to be dealing with port numbers. Okay, maybe I don't remember that Radius is port number 1812. Okay, maybe there's a couple in there that are memorization, but for the most part, it's because I do it all the time. If you're not doing it all the time, do it. The one thing I can pretty much count on is just about everybody has an internet connection these days. So if you got an internet connection, that means you have a router, and that router is configurable. Play with it. Douglas Connell, have you done any CTFs? You mean capture the flags, like for security stuff? Looks fun, but tough to start getting into. Douglas, don't know who you are. There is a program out there called Cyber Patriot that's geared more for high schools and colleges, but they're always looking for advisors and helpers. And I've known people who've got into Cyber Patriot that just completely skillless and just volunteered. They're passing out coffee at competitions and stuff like that. Cyber Patriot is, it's worldwide. It's not just it's mainly the United States, but there's a European version of it that eludes my name for the moment. And like they have these get-togethers where all these high school teams or college teams are coming in and they need help. They need volunteers. And I've seen people do really well in that department. God, Wildcat BBS. Wildcat BBS. Again, young people, ignore us old guys talking. One of the rules I normally make is when I'm talking about old technology, particularly to younger people, I make myself use the old man voice, because that reminds me that I'm boring the kids to death. Back in my day, we just had rocks, 1010, and we were happy with those rocks. Usha One, I'm a female. Welcome aboard. And you're in the UK. And they keep telling me I shouldn't. Oosh. Okay, I got it. Oosh. I'll never remember that. I'll try though. I have a study group here in the AK, and they keep telling me I shouldn't go over exam questions. Well, I don't. Oosh. Are they? Well, you wouldn't want to go. There are places to get actual exam questions. It's highly illegal, and worse than that, it's highly immoral. And I'm not even going to talk about that particular route. But you should go through practice questions. I would be glad to speak to your study group and tell them what I'm telling you right now. And I've got more people, my books and videos and practice questions have got more people CompTIA certified than anybody else. And I'm telling you, Mike Meyers, old dude who knows what he's talking about, says you always do practice questions. So Oosh, yeah, your friends or whoever's in this exam group are wrong. Oosh, I have exam anxiety, don't we all? And I am dyslexic. Dyslexics of the world, untie! I have loads of different materials to help, but I found yours easy to digest. Thank you. The other thing, Oosh, that I have is that my practice questions even kind of look like the real CompTIA. I'm talking about the layout, not the actual questions. Come on. I like the layout and the fonts and the colors, and I try to give it a similar look and feel. Just one more thing you don't have to panic about when you get in there. The other thing I don't do on my practice questions, and I probably should, is that if you go into, I'm really taking the exam mode, I should make you go through the 4 or 5 pages of gobbledygook that you have to sign, like you're not going to tell anybody about the questions that you ran into. And then you take the test, you go through this test, and you're all stressed out, and before it gives you the answers, it makes you take a survey. It's like, why you do this to me, CompTIA? Yeah, so all the CompTIA exams do that. You literally have to take a survey. You're like, I'm done with the exam, and it's like, okay, great. Before we give you the score, you have to take this survey. And it's not like one page. It's like lots of pages. I mean, I can understand why they do it, but it's kind of frustrating. Would a data center be a chill job? Keep your day job, buddy. Arlene Chan, hi Mike, doing good. Am I doing good? Good, thank you. Yeah, that PC building simulator is kind of fun. It's only 20 bucks. John F., have you talked about subnetting recently? We did about 2 weeks ago. So John F., what I'm going to ask you to do is, I am glad to cover more subnetting, but I'm going to ask you before I do that, is go back through my practice videos. If you look at the icons on YouTube, they all look the same, but the one on subnetting says subnetting. And watch that video and then ask me questions. And I will be more than glad to do that. Harsh Patel, do you provide online virtual training? I guess I'm kind of doing that right now, right? No, I do not perform online or virtual training with my pretty head on the camera. So Harsh, if you want to get a wheelbarrow and fill it full of money, I'll do anything, you know, pretty much. John F., I get asked that a little bit, and I'm not against repeating a subnetting class, but I got to tell you, the subnetting video we did a couple weeks ago, I thought was really good, and the students were really good, and the questions were really good, and I think we're going to be okay. Yes, I'm talking to hundreds of people all over the country. My buddy Sandy you need a Diet Coke? No. Walk quick. You were just a blur, you're okay. Between Sandy and the cat, it gets busy around here sometimes. Geraldine, I apologize. I don't know what desktop authority is. How are we doing on time? We're an hour in. I'll look it up and give you a better answer. Hi, Sandy. And the cat's walking around here too. I need a stoplight. Arson, technical question. What do you think about building a cryptocurrency rig and mine coins? So Scott gave me some information on Desktop Authority. So Desktop Authority Management Suite, Scott, this is a third-party tool that runs on Windows, for Windows. Now you got me curious. Oh, it's some third-party product. Oh, goodness. Just reading. Okay, I think I can partially answer your question, Geraldine, then. It looks to me like this, you say, Geraldine, you said earlier, you said Desktop Authority is similar to group policy, but it only happened to one user profile. We do add it to the AD. We could assume to remove, didn't know we can't do that because we can't trust people with power. There are a number of third-party tools that are designed to help smooth the idea of Windows group policies or if you're at a domain level, security policies. And because policies work on a user level and a group level and a domain level and a forest level and all these different levels, it can get really messy. I mean, like crazy messy in its raw, pristine format. So that's where people like this desktop authority have come into play. And I'm guessing here. I'm just looking on one ad I saw. And they smooth stuff out like that. I guarantee you these things lock themselves down really well. They probably, you know, have like domain admin authority when they do all this stuff. But it only happened to one user profile, and we deleted the profile and we add it. So you deleted the profile and re-added it and it worked? I would say that that desktop authority software has some real weaknesses if that worked. Because you're reinstalling the user profile with the same username and everything, you would think that it would stay on top of that. Oh, okay, anyway, back to cryptocurrency. Yeah, I've never been a big fan of it. Maybe if you'd got into it earlier when, you know, chains weren't so freaking long that you'd actually have a chance to pop any of these. But then again, I've seen people who just, you know, roll the dice the right way, and, you know, not too many people actually use graphic cards anymore, Marcian. Most of them there's dedicated ASICs whose only job is to, you know, do this kind of stuff, and they're surprisingly inexpensive. You know, hey man, only takes, you know, one good win and you can make a lot of money. What you'll start seeing instead, especially if you have weaker rigs, you'll see organizations of like, you know, 70 of us, and we all dedicate to work at the same time. And if anybody wins, they split the winnings 70 ways. And you know, that could be something I want to consider. Most people I know who have got into it have done okay. The people I've seen who actually do successful is when they, you know, rent a building and do that kind of stuff. I did remember seeing these guys. It was a house, and they were just putting computers on top of boxes, and there was no air conditioning in this house, and they ended up having to put like a bunch of window units in, and I don't even want to guess how much power, because Houston, Texas is hot anyway. And it was funny, you know, like the only furniture in there was one beat up sofa and then like a 72-inch flat screen. It was a place of men and lots of pizza boxes. Kids, get off my lawn. Oh man, we got questions coming in today. Afka Patel, where can I get genuine practice tests that will prepare me for the exam? Well, I'm not sure you mean by genuine. Nobody knows what is on CompTIA exams. Nobody, okay? And anybody can write practice questions for CompTIA exam. They can write them for Microsoft. They can write them for Cisco. So, you know, even the practice questions that even the practice questions that CompTIA writes, the people who write those questions have no benefits that I don't have. So, you know, the place you need to go is here. My practice questions rock, and I'm cheap. And today, if you go to www.total7.com, you can get 50% off our A+, Net Plus, and Security Plus super bundles. That includes my videos, my Total Sims, my the practice, the simulations, and the practice questions. Or if you just want the practice questions themselves, all you have to do is go to www.totalsim.com, make your order, and then when it's time to check out, just type in MMLive14, and you get it for 50% off. How's that for an answer? Yeah, John, again, I'll talk about subnetting. I'd like more detailed questions. Crimson Warrior 18, all right. Were you in the SCA? I got my A+ certification based on your video courses, and now I'm working on your Network Plus Security Plus courses. You're the best teacher around because you explain, oh, you guy, you big mug. Gino, when you start your Pearson session, so I think you're talking about the online thing, they send a verification number, copy it down. I got kicked out 5 times before the exam started. I was able to get back in without an issue by re-inputting that number. Thanks, Gino. That's a good thing to know. So when you start and this is the on view, where you're doing it at home kind of a thing, they send you a verification number, copy it down. How did they send you a verification number? Did it come as an email? Is there some kind of pop-up? Was it as you're in the interface of the exam? Where'd this number come from? John F., why don't they rig up exercise bikes and gyms to mine Bitcoin? Actually, having now started going back to the gym for a few months, some of the exercise bicycles out there have some pretty cool features in there. They're not quite as cool as I would think they could be, but they're doing pretty good. But nobody's using you as a power source. Okay, so it shows up on the screen. Cool. All right. All right, so we do, how are we doing on time? Just a little over an hour? All right, so guys, remember, I will go for 2 hours or until the questions run out. So we had a number of great questions here. I'm just pulling up the questions, guys. Bear with me. Here's one question. So at the moment, following your Net Plus course specifically on the 802.11, I wanted to check with you about the 802.11s mesh networks, if they go on the exam. But you got to be careful. So mesh is just a topology, and the 802.11s, is it S for the upcoming? I'm not sure that that's accurate. So what they're asking is, are 802.11s, let's double check. The fact that I'm looking it up probably speaks volumes right here. It is S. Okay, cool. 802.11s is not on the Network Plus. However, mesh as a network topology, there's definitely a few questions on that. So keep in mind, mesh can be a network topology, and there's also this new standard which is going to include, which is turning into WPA3. Basically, a big part about this 802.11s, it's coming back to me now, is there's no such thing as personal shared key. Even an open network is encrypted, stuff like that. Also the 802.11ax, which I believe is related to Wi-Fi 6. 802.11ax is Wi-Fi 6, same thing. Does it go on the exam? Yes, it does. But the questions for 802.11ax are actually pretty basic. There's one. Why are all these people buying the old versions of my books? They're, so I always feel bad, and then it's like, I'm trying to save money. It's like, yeah, you're not saving any money there. All right, let's try the other. Okay. Hi, Mike. I am currently enrolled in your Network Plus Seminar Great course. I have a pair of questions. I'm wondering if you could help me. if I put my website on the cloud, like AWS, whatever, what is the best way to protect the information of my users since they are transferring information to each other except making the page HTTPS? I also want to connect this cloud-based web page with a SAP server. What would be the best security measures for the SAP server? It's using SAP. Put the SAP server up there along with your web server and DMZ it for sure. And then see what, the problem with AWS is when you get on there, there are so many security products. You just click and it will automatically install something for you. I've never actually dealt with a SAP server in the cloud, but I guarantee you if you get on AWS, there's going to be some like SAP security module or something like that. Hi, Mike. Can you please explain DNSSEC and how asymmetric cryptography is used to protect the resource tables? Whew. I'll tell you what I can do. We are way outside of anything you're going to get on a CompTIA exam, but what I can tell you is this. So when we talk about asymmetric cryptography, like RSA, which is probably the most famous one, we're talking about, with regular cryptography, you've got some password, right? So you take this clear text. It doesn't have to be text. It could be a picture. It could be an email. It could be a video. It could be whatever you want it to be, but we still use the word clear text. I wish I could see all you guys right now. Make sure you're going, yeah, okay, Mike, we understand. Clear text doesn't mean text, but it's out there. Okay. So we take this clear text and we plug in this key and we run it through a machine with this particular key and it comes out as ciphertext, okay? Again, it's not really text, right? And then in order to decrypt it, we take the same machine. Why do I yawn on camera? This is so weird. Take the same machine, we put the same key back in, we run it through the machine and it comes back out as clear text. So that's what we call symmetric encryption. Asymmetric encryption gets us out of a big jam. The problem we have with symmetric encryption is that if I encrypt something and I send it to you who is far away, I got to get you the key, right? And that by itself, by definition, is dangerous because simply trying to transmit the key to you puts us in a threat. Because a man-in-the-middle attack or something like that, somebody could spoof it and get the key, and therefore we're in what we call a bad place. So the whole idea behind asymmetric encryption is that you never have to pass a single key. So in order to make asymmetric, and I swear to God, Terrence Tech, I'm answering your question here. The problem is in order to understand DNSSEC, you need to understand asymmetric encryption. So with asymmetric encryption, instead of having one key, you got two keys. And these two keys are related to each other, like something that you can do that's really easy one way, but virtually impossible the other way. Like for example, anytime you multiply any two prime numbers together, you will get another number that is only divisible by those two prime numbers, okay? So 3 is a prime number and 5 is a prime number. 3 times 5 equals 15. 15 is only divisible, well, other than 1 and 15, which would make it a prime. It's only divisible by 3 and 15, right? So there is no mathematical way to look at a number that is the product of two primes and determine what those products are. There's no mathematical way to do it. So you can do it by brute force. And you sit there, well, I can pick two more complicated primes. I don't have two primes off the top of my head, but I'm going to speculate that 323 and 711 are prime numbers. I don't know if they are, but they sound prime, don't they? So I multiply those two numbers together and I got to get something that's longer, right? There's no mathematical way to do it. So it's really easy to multiply two primes together, but there is no mathematical way to derivate the products of a, I'm sorry, forget about the math terms. The two prime numbers used to generate this new number, okay? And you sit there and go, Mike, I'll bet computers could do that. Yeah, they could. But what if I make numbers that are 4,096 bits long? Now people start to freak out and they're like, 4,096? That's in binary, therefore that can't have, no, it absolutely can have primes. You see this? This is 4. In base 10, we make the number 4. In primary, we do 101, I think. But it's still a 4, and it's still, well, that's not a prime, but you can put it that way. So if you take 2 large prime numbers in binary and multiply them together in binary, it still works out mathematically the same way, okay? Got that? All right. So there's a little bit more to it than that, but we'll start with this and it'll get you happy. So I, in my own computer, go through an algorithm, this RSA algorithm, which is based on multiplying large prime numbers together, and I arbitrarily pick those values and do a little bit more mumbo jumbo to it. And 100 is 4. Thanks, Scott. Okay, so 101 is 5. Still, same analogy still works. So what I can do is I can kind of use these 2 prime numbers and multiply them together, do a little more mumbo jumbo, and I can create 2 keys, not 1 key, 2 keys. And one of these keys, I arbitrarily, because they'll actually work either way, I'll pick 1 key to be the public key, okay? And the only thing you can do with that public key is encrypt stuff. Got it? That's all you can do. So I send you my public key, and I send it to you via an email or through an automatic process in my web page or whatever it is. And then I can take that and I can encrypt the web page, or I can encrypt the email or whatever it is, and then send that to you. So if somebody intercepts it, tough bananas, because the only way you're going to be able to decrypt it is if somebody knows the private key. And the only person who has the private key is you, who have generated it, and you keep it stored in an encrypted part of your hard drive, and nobody else can get to it. Get the idea? So public keys encrypt, and private keys decrypt. So now there's no key passing. Well, there's a public key. Go ahead and enjoy it. Have fun with it. So that's great, but the problem we have with a public key is that I could pretend to be Mike Meyers, put on a black mustache. I can say, oh, here I am, because anybody can get the public key. So, oh, yeah, I'm Mike Meyers, and I'll encrypt something and send it to you to try to get you to do stuff with it, right? So you can do some interesting stuff. Like, for example, you can take that public key, and before you send it out, you can digitally sign it. So basically what you do, remember I told you that public keys are only used for encryption and private keys are only used for decryption? But remember I also told you the keys are arbitrary. You can actually also encrypt with a private key, but it's only done in a very specific reason. And the idea is that you take your email or your web page or whatever it is, and you encrypt it with the private key, okay? And then you create a hash value. So you encrypt it, then you make this hash value. Now this hash value, then you send the email or the web page or whatever it is. With the public key, what the person can do is reverse that process and compare the hashes, and now you know it's not really used for encryption, do you understand? But it's used to let the person know that whoever sent this actually is the holder of the private key. You get the idea? So asymmetric encryption is really a terrible way to do encryption and decryption. It's really slow. But what we can do with asymmetric encryption and decryption is, number one, we can authenticate, okay? That's important. So, because you take a public key and you digitally sign it with the private key. Remember, you're not handing the private key, you're creating a hash value. So you take a public key and then you digitally sign it. That means that the only person who could have handed you this public key is the person who actually had the private key initially. Get the idea? The only problem is I could, here we go, that's where I made the little error a moment ago. I could pretend to be Mike Meyers and send you a public key going, yeah, this is from Mike Meyers, but I'm not. And then what we can do is we pick a third party like VeriSign or somebody like that, and then they digitally sign the same thing, and now you've got a certificate, because a certificate is nothing more than a public key that is signed by the person who has the actual private key, and it's also signed by a third party that says, yep, we guarantee that's Mike Meyers. That's what a certificate is. That's all it is, okay? So now that you understand that, so when you're like hitting an HTTPS website, the asymmetric part takes seconds, and the only thing that gets passed in an asymmetric what they call a TLS four-way handshake, the only data that gets really passed after the authentication part is the private key. This symmetric key, a good old regular AES key. That's it. And now both people have the secure AES key and everything's done symmetrically, because symmetric is powers of 10 faster than asymmetric. So asymmetric encryption, lousy for actually encrypting because it's slow compared to symmetric, but it's great for authentication. So now let's go back to DNSSEC. All right. The problem with DNS is that it's fairly easy to pretend to be somebody else. You can plug things into the DES hierarchy and fool people into thinking that you are www.totalsem.com or something like that. This has been a big problem with DES for like forever. And with DNSSEC, basically what happens is that you create a public-private key pair of the domains that you're in charge of, and then you send these up to the root servers and the .com servers, and you hold a copy for the totalsem.com DNS server. And the recursion process that takes place when someone's trying to get to www.totalsem.com, you don't see this from your web browser, you understand? This is all, DNSSEC only works between DNS servers, but it makes sure that nobody's doing anything evil or nasty. So one more time, DNSSEC, it uses asymmetric encryption, not for encryption, but for authentication, because they want to make sure that if some DNS server is talking to another DNS server, it is legitimately the DNS server that originally made that connection. I am really skipping over some big parts there, but without doing a whole course on it. And by the way, no one's going to ask any questions of that level of detail on a CompTIA exam. Can you demonstrate how FileZilla uses an FTP server to transfer share files? You know, Terrence, I said I can, but I didn't set up for it, and that's going to be a demonstration. So Friday, we absolutely are going to do FTP FileZilla demo. So if you want to follow along, Terrence, get yourself a copy of FileZilla. It's completely free. Download it, and we'll get some FTP servers up so you can play with them, and we'll see how we can do. That'll be fun, huh? I know Scott Jernigan loves FTP. Oh, I need to talk to Elaine Batzer to make sure that she's coming. We spoke yesterday and set up some dates, but she is not confirmed. So let's make sure we can do that. Just want to make sure I don't have any more questions. All right, I think that's all I've got for questions from emails. Let's get back to the live stream, see how people are doing. So USA Health Insurance Reform. Does Pearson online testing allow you to go to the bathroom? That's actually a great question. No breaks. Huh, I didn't know that. Thank you, Scott. See, Plasman, all your bike stores are still closed? Sorry, man. Things are starting to open up here in Texas. Of course, we've had a big shoot up here in Texas of COVID virus, so I'm actually more paranoid now than I've ever been before. Hey, man, I knew coming into this was going to last months. And, I mean, lucky for you guys, the longer this lasts, the longer I'll be doing this. So, Mike, I did have a question about CYSA+. Is that the cert for working for law enforcement to handle evidence? CYSA+ certainly covers forensics, but I don't know if it is the one. There are, what's that? Dang it, Certified Forensic Examiner. Oh, yeah. So usually when I think about the certification for forensics, It's a GIAC. GIAC Certified Forensic Examiner. Pretty challenging exam too. I'm not saying that's the only one, but that's the one I think about the most. Ush, thank you for changing your name. That's very helpful. So you took it online and you got told off for covering your mouth for coughing? Wow, okay. Well. Justin Miller, I have a question, Mike. My plan is to earn the big 3. I am semi-new to the industry. Once I've done that, is it worth the time for Windows 10 certification? Which Windows 10 certification are we speaking of, Justin? Microsoft? Microsoft just made a bunch of big changes. The fact that I'm typing it once again speaks volumes, right? Yeah, the old MCSA Windows 10 is retired. So, oh God, Microsoft's trying to make me jump through a bunch of hoops. I'm going to ignore that for right now. If you want to become a systems administrator, I would seriously consider, for true system administration, A+, but barely, Net Plus, absolutely, and then go straight into Windows. Crimson Warrior 18, do you think it's better to start IT entry level or network admin? You won't get entry level as a network admin. It doesn't happen. There might be like assistant network admin kind of a thing where you run around changing people's default passwords or something. Help desk is a well-respected first step in the world of IT, and there's nothing wrong with that. Ha ha ha, you're funny, pea in a jar. I guess if they didn't see you do it, and if you were very quiet, put a sponge on the bottom. No, okay, I didn't say that. I did not say that. This is an adult crowd. We can talk a little bit. PvP boy, oh man, I'm saying tonight is good Burgundy wine because like I've had no food today, and but I'm going to wait till after we're done talking. Marcin, there is radius to CACUS plus / diameter. Is it the same server or new version? No, they are completely different, and as far as I know, depending on the application, they are not compatible. I got to be honest with you, to CACUS plus / diameter, the only place I've ever seen that is in Cisco. I've never seen it anyplace else. The only place I've seen, that could almost be a lie, the only place I've seen radius in the last 10 years was on wireless authentication. But they're very different animals. They have different port numbers. I am unaware of any server softwares out there. Because remember, the end of this is always going to be some kind of server software that would support both of these. They're different animals. David Rush, diameter is twice as good as radius. Well, oh my God, Dave Rush, I never caught that joke till right now. Diameter is twice as good as radius. All right, Dave, be a little something. You're going to get a big celery. Russ Morgan, what are some methods for memorizing tables like cable types, distances, etc.? Russ, this is, what do you call that? Like to memorize music scales, every good boy does fine, or FACE. There's a name for those. where you use sentences to help you remember different things like that. I've never been a fan of those things. So I don't have any. Boy, Karen Sang just retracted a bunch of messages. I wanted to read them. Karen Singh, put those back. Some of those were interesting to me. So I don't have any easy way to do it. When it comes to distances for cables, just remember 100 meters, because 95% of them are 100 meters, unless you're getting into fiber, and some of those go up to 40 kilometers. Sorry, don't have any magic thing there for you, brother. Would encase. Would encase be best? Encase is really popular. What's the other super popular software? Encase and going blank. FTK. Having worked with law enforcement, I can tell you that FTK is generally more popular than Encase. Although they're both quite popular. I think if you learn one, you have the basic gist to get the other. I mean, they do the same stuff. You know, they're going to be looking at slack space. They ignore file names. You know, they look into the files themselves. So these forensic toolkits tend to work. The interfaces are pretty different, but what they do is very similar. Yeah, Justin, I don't know what the new Microsoft certification is. I apologize. I am not up to speed on Microsoft certs, but it still doesn't change my answer in that, first of all, congratulations that network administration is something you want to get into. If you say network administration, you're pretty much talking about Windows, because Linux machines don't have a lot of administrative tools to them, and the ones that they do suck. But that wouldn't change it. Maybe A+, certainly Net+, maybe Security+, and then go straight to those. You know, the thing is, you could always go back for those CompTIA certs. Mnemonic devices. Thank you, C. Plasma. That was going to drive me crazy trying to remember that. The original avocado. I just built my new PC and my power button turns on my PC, but it doesn't turn off the PC. Original avocado, I will bet you if you press and hold that button down for 6 seconds, it will probably turn off your PC. The other possibility is that this is a soft power thing. So the other thing is you probably want to go into your power management settings. I'm assuming Windows. I just took my glasses off and the entire screen has turned into a blur. So I'm assuming you're a Windows system. Go into your power management settings and you can actually control what the on and off buttons do. If you want to, you can go into your system setup and do that. Windows will honor what system setup does, but if you change it in Windows, it will override whatever system setup says. So I'm getting a ton of work done in the house again, and they're trying to be nice. How are we doing? It's 3:30. Great. Is ARP covered in A+, or is that a Net Plus and above thing? It's a Net Plus and above thing. I do not believe that ARP is covered on the A+. But again, you can always check the objectives yourself. Anytime you're going for any certification, you should have a copy of the objectives from the testing body. So you should go, for example, on this question, you should go to CompTIA.org and double check and see what it says. But old Mike Meyers, pretty sure ARP is only going to be a Net Plus. No, Cran, I wasn't going to skip over them. I'm just getting a lot of questions today. Hey, so here's the other thing, guys. I love these questions. Keep in mind that sometimes I do miss questions. Cran, you're absolutely right. Sometimes I do miss questions. And if I do miss them, just come back on Friday or come back on the next Monday or whatever it is and ask them again. Or if you really want to make sure I'm going to answer the question, send me an email. So all you have to do is send an email to michaelm@totalsim.com or desweds@protonmail.com. Either one's perfectly fine. Send me those questions and I guarantee I'll get to them just like I did today. But Yeah, never worry if I miss questions one time. Just come on back, and we'll get them next time, my friends. YouTube recommended me. How do they know that I took your course in VHS, Vacation High School? VHS tape? YouTube recommend? Oh, so like on YouTube? Yeah, okay. That's cool. You're welcome. One of my favorite games on Steam right now? I got to be honest with you. I'm playing Age of Empires. I know it's an ancient game, but they came up with an HD version of it, and I've been playing that. Factorio. Scott Jernigan gave me this cool game. You build siege weapons, and you have to shoot them at stuff. It's a lot of fun. I've been meaning to get back into Kerbal Space Program. Kerbal is still alive and well and constantly updated. It's pretty cool. But the right answer is Crimson Warrior 18 is I'm not playing a lot these days. Send me a Steam invite and tell me I've got to play this game. It's fabulous, and I'll probably get it if I don't have it already. I have like over 200 games on Steam, and I'll bet 80 of them I've never even started. What keyboard am I currently using? I'm using this is a Inland brand mechanical keyboard. You guys have been hearing the clicky clacks. I like mechanical keyboards. There's something about that background noise that I just like. And it's got all the RGB and all that stuff, which is almost wasted on me. When I'm getting a keyboard, I want a 101 size keyboard. I want a mechanical keyboard. And the one little feature I like is the little roller for volume. I just use it a lot. I don't know. I like having USB connections on them too. I hate wasting, like for a wireless mouse or something like that, wasting a USB connection on my box. Cyber Discovery, C-Y-B-E-R, Discovery. So, Karen, I'm wondering if this Cyber Discovery you're mentioning is similar to Cyber Patriot that we have here in the States. Because SANS also sponsors Cyber Patriot. I'll bet it's just the UK version of the same thing. Motaz Farzi. Hello, Mike from Saudi Arabia. You're my superhero. Your last name's Farzi, but you're from Saudi? Okay. Motaz, welcome aboard. This is one place I've never got to go is the Middle East, and I've always wanted to go. And I would definitely love to stop by in Saudi one of these days and check it out. Marson, you got to go do a dad. Okay, later, Tater. They have Cyber Start. All right, Corinne, it might be something different. I'm gonna check out what you're telling me, man. That's good stuff. Thank you very much. Wow, questions are pouring in. This is great. I always think we're about to end, and here there's only 20 minutes left. There's more than one PC building simulator game. The one I showed on screen, I can pull it back up if you guys want me to. This is the one I'm talking about. Whoops. I'll click on the right thing. There we go. So this is, here, let me bring this down a little bit so you guys can actually see the, I don't know if you can read that. PCBuildingSim.com. So if there's other ones out there, I don't know about them. I can't say whether they're good or bad. I have this game. I play this game. It is fun. You have to plug in every cable. You have to flip on the on-off button on the back of the power switch. It has its own BIOS. It's actually very clever. And so that's the game that I know. And if there are other ones, I can't say whether they're good or bad. Maybe they're better. But that's the one I know. And it's $20. Maven Feliciano, hi Mike, what do you think of the future of Linux in general? Also jobs. Linux is here, man. The problem is Linux isn't on the desktops. If you ever get a chance, get on YouTube and type in, this guy does this every year. He does these series of presentations called Why Linux Sucks. And they're hilarious, and they're thought-provoking, and they're great. And you should watch them. I mean, he's kind of tongue-in-cheek about this, but then he's also got some really valid points. If you're logging into a web server these days, odds are good that that web server is on a virtual machine somewhere in the cloud, and it's running a virtualized copy of Linux, more often than not. So Linux is very much here. It's just not on the desktop. If you asked me to set up a DNS server today, if I had to be running bind on something, it would be on a Linux system, and I would make a very good, powerful DNS server on it. If you're going to ask me to create an Office system for people to be able to run Microsoft Office and things like that, I'm going to use Windows or I'm going to use a Mac because they're better. So Linux is alive and well. It lives in everything that's not a desktop. Take the desktop away, Linux is every place. You'd be shocked at how many IoT devices are Linux systems, and how many Raspberry Pis run Linux, and that kind of stuff. Linux is everywhere. Also jobs. Wherever there is an operating system, there is somebody who is going to be needed there to fix it. I find the world to be very healthy. The problem is, if there's so many people, like, I want to get into computers, they think about their home computer, and they think about home networking. And there's plenty of work to be done there. But where the big work comes into play is when you start looking and, well, thinking about working at data centers, or thinking about working for little mom and pop ISPs and stuff like that. They're the ones who look for the work. Here in Houston, out in the oil field, or not, well, oil fields to some extent, but oil refineries, for example, are stuffed to the gills with PCs of different types. And they need people to fix them. So Dave, so ARP is an objective. ARP is not an objective in A+, but it is in the glossary. So, okay, but it is a net plus. Yeah, so basically. My fiance has the issue of a PC provided, this is Kenneth Estrella TV. My fiance has this issue with a PC provided her by her job for a home job. There are currently no logon servers available to service the logon request. What would have been the best solution? Logging in it, so this is, I think you're talking about a VPN, is my quick guess. The big problem, in fact, Sandy, my roommate, she runs into this, and usually the answer is everybody, they get a piece of VPN software that's downloaded automatically, and it has a default VPN server to log into. But if you hit like a pull down or something, there's like 7 or 8 other options. Try an alternative one is usually the thing to do. The other trick to do is log in when you know nobody else is logged in and never log off. If it's VPN. So that's going to be some type of enterprise VPN. Kenneth Estrella, I'd have to have more details, but that sounds like Homer Martinez, VHS tape in wait a minute. Homer, you have VHS tapes of me? Wow, those are collector's items now. All right, Motaz, I'm holding you to it, man. If I'm coming into Saudi, I'm going to be looking you up, brother. Karan Singh, you're 14 years old. Your whole life is ahead of you, young person. Into pen testing and aiming for the OSCP in the next few months. Oh my gosh. Karan, you're a genius. One day, 10 years from now, when you're the CEO of something, invite me to your house for dinner, will you? Michael Davis. Hey, Michael Davis. Did you know what my middle name is? Davis. My name's Michael Davis Meyers. And your name's Michael Davis. No wonder I can't like you. Terrence Tech. Mike, if you self-publish any storybooks under a pseudonym, will McGraw-Hill penalize you? No. If I were to actually do any storybooks, I'd probably just do them self-published through Amazon, like the guy who did The Martian. Okay, anyway, back to you, Michael Davis. Any advice on learning starting A+, note-taking advice? Michael Davis, I'm not a note-taker. I'm a highlighter. To me, the perfect combination is going to be a book, a video, and practice questions. To me, that's the perfect triumvirate, and that's why I sell them, because I feel that's how most people pass. I know a lot of people don't like books. I love books. And I am selling more books today than I have in the previous 25 years. Isn't that crazy? You'd think that books are going down. And by the way, those are paper books. I sell a lot of Kindle type books, but I sell tons and tons of paper books. So somebody else is agreeing with me out there. Anyway, you have to pick what is your initial way to learn best. Are you a reader? Then you start with a book. Would you like to watch videos? Then start with a video, okay? If you know a lot, then maybe you want to start with practice questions because you've already got some amount of skill and you just want to get a feel of what you need to know. So, you use all three of those to get where you want to go. It'd be nice to have some practice equipment around. A+ doesn't require that much, to be honest with you. So that would be the big thing. The other thing I would tell you is what I tell everybody else. Pick a date in the future. Usually it takes about 120 up to maybe 200 hours of studying maximum for you to pass the A+. Pick that, figure out how many hours you can study per day, make sure you're going to do it, and then go on Pearson VUE and sign up and put your money down for the exam. I promise you'll find study time if you've got that heat on you. But I don't take notes. I use highlighters. I use highlighters and I use page markers. Landuke report does Linux. Thanks, Glenn. I'd forgot. Brian Landuke. They're pretty funny, too. Yeah, that's what made me think about a PvP boy. He just came out with one for 2020. I have a joke for you. Remember when we thought Windows phones were going to take off? PvP boy, let me guess. You get on reddit.com, don't you? I just got a feeling maybe you do. There was a joke on that recently under the subreddit Aged Like Milk. So CPLASM 2009, if there's all these other building simulators, the one I found is sufficient and excellent and really uses real equipment. If you want to try another one, please report in and let me know. In fact, I'd prefer you send me an email and let me know. Alex Heych, H-H-E-Y-C-H. The double H is silent. Alex Eich. I'm kidding. I'm 30 years old. Too late. No, Alex. You're not even close, man. The oldest person I know who I have trained like from scratch was successful and actually got in the business was in their mid-60s. The oldest person I know to ever take the A+ was 83 or 84. No, you're 30 years old, man. Your wrists are still mainly cartilage. Is starting with, the A+ is designed, this is Michael Davis again, the A+ is designed, my training for A+ is designed for people who have no experience fixing PCs. I assume you know how a mouse works. I assume you know how to open and close a program. Assume you know how to save a file, that kind of stuff. If you don't know that, you might want to look at IT fundamentals. But A+ is, if computers are like cars, A+ is the beginning auto mechanics course. So my courseware assumes you have no experience. The CompTIA A+ exams are designed to test people with the equivalent of 9 months of experience in the IT world. Son Amor, you found the 5th edition of your book. Which book do you have the 5th edition of, my love? Because like my A+ book is on its 10th edition. C Class in 2009. I like Kindle. I use it. I'm more of a military history fanatic, especially from about the American Civil War up to the Cold War. If it rolled or floated or flew in the air, I could probably talk to you about it in great detail. C. Plassen, 62. I am so glad somebody out there is older than me. Not too much. Yeah. All right, guys, it looks like we're starting to wrap up. It looks like the second hour is coming towards the end. This is the last chance if you're going to throw out any questions. No competitions today, no prizes to give away, but I do promise that come Friday, this Friday, we will most certainly be having some giveaways, and we usually try to do our better giveaways on Fridays. So do come back on Friday. Terrence Tech, if I answered enough DNSSEC questions for you, I got to warn you, if you want me to take DNSSEC any deeper, you know what? I'm just going to have to say no, because that level is not anywhere on any of the exams we're doing, and it would be a big topic, and you and I would be the only ones to appreciate it. I am going to be shooting for Friday. Friday, we're definitely going to be doing FTP, and we're going to do some demonstrations. I'm going to use FileZilla, but there's lots of other clients out there that work. What would probably be more interesting is we set up an FTP server. So we'll see if maybe we could do that. And then I'm going to get started. I'm going to start on IPv6 on Friday. I want to get the basics down so that we can start talking about the cool stuff. What makes IPv6 cool is that it makes things like DHCP just disappear. It makes NAT disappear. They're just gone. And I think we'll like that. Okay, so Friday it will be. Is going to be FTP and IPv6 plus whatever other questions you guys happen to bring in. AMD, right now, LG Sus Gaming. I'm a big Ryzen fan right now, but I go back and forth, and they're both good. Scott Mueller, I remember Scott Mueller. What's the best way to obtain a Microsoft certification? Songyam Warrior, unfortunately, I'm not a real good expert at Microsoft certs, especially since they've recently gone through some major changes. So I'm going to have to bow out on that one. Andy STL, Mike bought your test questions yesterday on security class. Good luck with those, man. Dave will only touch Intel. I like them both. I like them both. Michael Davis, this is what I'm here for. You're supposed to ask questions. There's nothing wrong with that. Are there any video recommendations or sites that I can visit besides your videos on here? Sure, lots of people have my videos, and they're the same videos, really. Udemy has them. Lynda.com has them. NextU has them in Spanish. There's a lot of folks out there. I'm sorry. LG Sus Gaming is teasing me because now he tells me his name's Jesus. And dude, I'm never going to remember that anyway. So the next time you come back, I'm still going to sit there and say, LG Sus Gaming? Change your name to Jesus, and then I'll remember. My best Mexican friend? Amigo, tú tienes mucho más mexicano amigos. Oh, shoot. Jesus, I know who you are. How's it going, brother? I got it. Jesus, man, where you been, man? It's been a long time. You're such a stranger these days. Where are you living? When are you going to let me come visit you? After the virus gets down there. I haven't been in Mexico in ages. All right, but guys, I am going to go ahead and wrap it up. We've only got a couple of minutes left. So listen, we're going to have a lot of fun on Friday. Please come back, especially if you want to do IPv6. IPv6 is on the A+, Net+, Security+. I even think it's on IT Fundamentals in a small degree. And once you understand IPv6, you'll quickly become like me going, why are we still using IPv4? It's ancient history and you don't need it anymore. It literally has no function anymore in today's society and it needs to go away, but it's not going to go away for a long time. Doesn't matter. Let's make sure we understand IPv6 because it automates everything and makes our life so much better. So with that, I'm going to say goodbye. Guys, I will see you Friday. We're here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 2 o'clock Central Daylight Time. And I don't care if you're from Portugal or Saudi Arabia, all are welcome. And we will see you next Friday. And until then, this is your Uncle Mikey saying good night. Good night.